Welcome to Feelings and Other F Words. I'm Dr. Daryl Appleton. I'm sure my mom is going to call me another 15 times. She keeps butt dialing me. So if you hear vibrations, it's just my mom not knowing how to use any type of technology. But back on task, back on task. This week's F word is all about first impressions. And beyond just like, how do I show up? How do I do that? Like, we're going deep here. We're going like CIA level deep because when I am asked to be on hiring committees or to consult to new hires or onboarding, there is one particular question that I ask all candidates or I give as a guidepost for others to ask their candidates that gives you everything you might need to know about a person. It pushes first impressions beyond the polished and it gets you underneath to their psyche very quickly. Now, I'm not going to make you wait the whole episode to know what this question is. I'm going to give it to you in the first 60 seconds because I love you. I care about you. And I know you don't have a lot of time. So take this, do with it. But we are going to be breaking down all the science after. And I will give you a toolkit on how to interview better, whether it's a first date, whether it's a job, whether it's your kid's new school, whether it's a significant other your adult kids are bringing home, whatever, right? I'm going to give you a toolkit on how to decode first impressions. And I'm also going to give you some ways to be your best self when you need to make a great first impression. So that's what this episode has in store for us. But on to the question that I give everyone to ask in an interview capacity. This is literally used by the CIA, and they ask the question, when was the first time you had to be the adult in the room? Now, this is not just a good therapy question. This is used to assess emotional calibration, basically how you process stress and power. And the answer to this question tells you and me everything I need to know about, are you still in this story or are you past it? Are you narrating from a place of pain or are you narrating from a place of purpose, like that you have learned something from this? It's so much better than the question of like, tell me about a time that you failed. Tell me about a hard thing you've done that actually turned out well. Like, right, no. Tell me about the first time you had to be the adult in the room. And I bet you I'm going to pick up on what the pain points are in your life very quickly. Now, again, could be wrong. With great power comes great responsibility, and you can't just blanket decode everything. But the thing is, this question works in a lot of places. Again, job interviews, first dates, friendships, like, because like it or not, and a lot of you are not going to like it, and I apologize deeply, but too freaking bad, you are being constantly interviewed for trust. Constantly, we are being assessed of if we are trustworthy or not. And today we are going to be decoding with science and with subtle tells about the stories that we tell. Now, on to the nerdy stuff. On to the research. Why are we this way? Like what shows up that we need to be looking for? Linguistics, inquiry, and word count studies, that's right, LIWC, if you get into that world. It's actually quite fascinating. They show that people who have processed trauma are more likely to use past tense verbs and are less likely to use I and me statements when talking about a particular pain. So if you ask that question, when was the first time you had to show up as the adult in the room? And people are saying like, I constantly have to show up. I've mothered my mother since I was 5, like you're still doing it, right? Like it's still showing up. When you heal, you narrate as if you have watched a movie. If you haven't, you're still trapped in a particular scene. And that's what I look for. Are you giving me the movie? Like, am I getting like the synopsis? Are you telling me what happened? Or are you telling me what is happening? Now, there's also a ton of research from actually Lisa Feldman Barrett on emotional granularity. And this idea that not only the verbs and the tenses and the self-references that people use are important, but on the emotional granularity side, how people name difficult feelings also will tell you if they have a higher emotional intelligence and a higher stress tolerance or not. So if people say things like, okay, well, how did that make you feel? Sad, mad, bad, right? you potentially have less emotional intelligence and less stress tolerance than somebody saying, I felt really embarrassed in that moment, or I wasn't able to suss out that I was actually frustrated and overstimulated because I was just feeling a flood of fight or flight, right? Like those things matter. You can also use those words to manipulate others that you have done that work. So don't fully hinge your assessment, so to speak, on people using fancy words, but it is something to look out for. The other thing that is very difficult to fake is microexpressions. And Paul Ekman writes a ton about this. There's a book, What Everybody is Saying, and he talks a lot about what Ekman's talking about here of your face, quite literally, will give you away. Like your body will react to something 0.25 seconds before your brain has a chance to filter it. So that flush of red you get in your cheeks, or that uncomfortable shift in your chair, or looking to the left or looking to the right, micro expressions potentially can also give you away before your brain has a chance to step in and filter it. Something to keep in mind if you are assessing others as they're answering your questions, again, whether in an interview capacity, first date, new school for your kids. Amy Edmondson also talks a lot about psychological safety and containment. And this actually predicts leadership success. So the idea that you can contain yourself. Well, how about this? Let me give you an anecdote. Let me give you an anecdote instead of me explaining it, because I'm not going to do it justice. I once was hired by an executive board to come work with the CEO because of lack of confidence issues. And when I came in, I asked the CEO, one of the first questions was, what is the biggest challenge they had faced? Past tense, right? And they said, I'm still dealing with it. And it was all I needed to know. Emotionally, they were still in that arena. Didn't mean that they were weak, didn't mean that they were a poor leader. It just meant that they were not ready to lead from that particular thing yet. And it was showing up time and time again, right? It was eroding their confidence because of something that had happened in the past that wasn't actually linked, but made them feel in times of stress and times of overwhelm, it was a trigger point, right? And it brought them back to an emotional state that wasn't doing anything for their executive functioning, for their decision making, so to speak. So when Amy Edmondson talks about psychological safety and containment, she talks about this ability to contain a feeling or to process a feeling so it becomes an environment where other people feel safe because you are not spilling your baggage over onto other people. We see it all the time in the dating world. How many times is somebody unpacking their emotional baggage with you when they should have put that shit away weeks ago? It's like actual literal laundry that should have been folded and put away months ago. We just got back from our trip, right? Emotional baggage is the same, and it does show up at work, and it does show up in the dating arena, and sometimes it shows up in friendships as well, and parenting. So all that to say, there's a lot to look out for. Now, I'm going to give you the toolkit to decode. So if you start asking better questions, you're going to get better answers, but you need the rubric in order to figure out what it means, right? You need to be able to decode it. So I'll give it to you like in a job interview, in a first date, and like family and friends, the things that I've seen. So I'll give you a few toolkits to decode. Job interview first. The first thing I look for when I ask these fantastic questions, when I ask these really good questions, or when I give, when I work with other people to come up with really good questions, I look for responses of we versus I. Anytime somebody says I, me, right? You're talking from a place of ego. I want to hear, especially if I'm hiring for a team, we is about collaboration. So that matters. Anytime I ask a difficult question, if they talk about the proverbial or literal they of like, well, they were at fault, they did this, they did that. That is also something that I am looking at as well, of where did they place blame and on whom and at what point, what pain point did it start to shift, if it shifted. I work a lot with Brown surgical residents, and a lot of times, I don't know if you guys know this, When you get into residency, you don't necessarily have a spot for the next 5 to 7 years. Sometimes you're in what's called a prelim category, meaning you can have a job for a year or two, but you need to reapply. And it's incredibly stressful for these young doctors who have already uprooted their life and potentially need to move again all over the country to match again. But point being, I work with them on their interview strategies because guess what? Every single person that they are going to interview with, every single program is going to ask, why didn't you match the first time? What happened? And anytime they go with they this, they that, the pandemic, my dad, my mom, and they might all be really valid answers, right? Teaching them on how to flip the script, on how to be more aware of how they narrate that difficult time is going to be something that makes them a better interviewer or interviewee. So, anyway, anytime you hear we versus I or they's is deflection, that's something that I am looking for, especially in a job interview. And that's very rudimentary, but guess what? It matters on top of how they answer these questions and if they're still in the pain point, right? Past tense, present tense, stuff like that. On a first date, a question that I would like to ask. I haven't been on a first date in a very long time, and I am so happy about that. So, for those of you who are out there still fighting the good fight, ask this question and see how your date responds. What is something that used to bother you that doesn't anymore? Because this is testing for emotional flexibility. If they answer with like something avoidant of like, I don't do drama anymore, like, okay, all right. I mean, it's unavoidable, fine. But like, how do you show up when hard things happen? Because they're going to happen. We as a couple will have drama at some point. And if you don't do it, what does that mean? If it's anxious of like, people always ghost me, people always leave me, right? Like people are continuing to do this thing. It shows up as anxious attachment of like, okay, am I going to have to reassure you a lot? Like it sounds like you're still working on this, like haven't actually processed it versus avoidant is like you're not processing it. Anxious is like, okay, you're clearly still processing this. You're feeling the pain. And are you going to be looking out for every little thing that I do as an affront to this pain? Or are they answering in a secure place from, X, Y, and Z happened and I learned a lot. Like it didn't not suck. Like it totally sucked, but this is what I'm taking from it because I can't go back there. Like I just need to continue to move forward, right? That's the shit I want to hear. That's totally what I want to hear that in an interview. I want to hear that in like anybody my girls bring home. Like I want to hear that into anybody, right? That's what I want to hear. Because at the end of the day, especially on a first date, you're not looking for anybody's trauma resume. You're looking for if they've completed their emotional internship or not, right? Like, have they gone through the rites of passage of the messiness that is life, divorce, death, whatever, right? That is life. And where are they at now with it? Now, on the friendship and family side, gets even more convoluted, but the Gottman Institute, which is fantastic for relationship stuff, definitely look for them. They have a wealth of stuff, whether it's romantic relationships or familial. But they talk a lot about looking for repair attempts. And this actually will predict longevity of a relationship. So if somebody hurts you and you talk to them about it in your family, say you have in laws and they have hurt you, or you've tried to talk to them and they say something like, I'm so sorry, that absolutely came out wrong. That was never my intention to make you feel that way. Or if they say things like, you're being too sensitive, or this too shall pass, like, here you go, we'll get over this, or I'm sorry you feel that way, right? What it does is it removes repair. We're not actually fixing anything. And long term, it absolutely makes it worse. So it makes sense to me how repair attempts or language around repair attempts will predict longevity of the relationship. Now, Robert Feldman, also talked about the fact that we need to be a little bit, what did he call it? I feel like it was like socially greased or something like that. But he was saying that the average person lies 2 to 3 times in a 10-minute chat. And most of it is harmless. Most of it is that like social grease, like just to like keep things going, whether it's, inflating how tired you are or how much you've worked or, how long it took you to get to a place. I don't know, right? Whatever. We all lie. I mean, I've been talking to you guys for 15 minutes, so I'm sure there's one or two lies in here. I don't know. I'll have to go back and listen to it. But the issue is that we can't make it too braggadocious. It can't be too far off from who we are. It's not about appearing perfect. It's about appearing human. And that's important as well with family, friends, dating, also, again, into the job thing. They're all very fluid. Ultimately, what I want to say with the family and friends stuff is when people get defensive, that is a data point. When they get curious, that is a growth point. And those are the things to look at: defensiveness versus curiosity, healthy curiosity. Back to our F word of first impressions. There is a lot of science about first impressions. And you can find this in Cuddy, Glick, right? Like all these kind of researchers, these social psychologists and such, talk about first impressions and how we can learn about them and use them to our advantage. It's interesting. It just kind of popped into my head. I was talking with one of my friends from the area here, and we had mentioned this kind of mutual person we both know. And I was almost waiting for my friend to say something about this person, like, and just to get their opinion on what they thought about them. I didn't probe it, it kind of came out naturally. And she was like, like, so and so is such a dick. And I was like, yeah, yeah, you're right. Like, I agree. And I was like, it's kind of unfair because I've never actually spoken to said person. Like, I don't actually know them that well. But every time I've had an interaction, I've left feeling kind of like, ugh, like I just like turned off. And, my friend's like, it's interesting because their business is in like, a very social place. And you would think they would want to be nice to people. Like, and it's true, whether your business is hospitality or small business or sales, right? Like your impressions do matter. And this is not to stress you out. Again, this is science. Back to the research. Researchers show that we are actually sized up, or we size each other up on two axes: warmth and competence. Warmth meaning, are you safe? Like, can I tell you something? Like, are you too perfect? Will you not get it? Will you respond to me like I'm an asshole? Or will you like brush this off? And competence of, are you capable? Are you coherent? Are you reliable? Right? Like, can you make this decision, or can you speak from a place of authority, so to speak? And too much warmth without enough competence is people pleasing. Like, I can't trust you to tell me if you like my outfit because, like, you say yes to everybody. You're like, oh my God, yeah, girl, yes, queen, slay. Like, nope. I want you to tell me the truth. And this is why my friends probably do not take me shopping, because I'm like, this blouse makes you no. We can do better. We can do better. But sometimes people don't want to hear that, and that's fine too. I just don't want people spending money on shit that they don't actually feel comfortable in because they actually don't look comfortable in it. And that's another main thing, but that's a fashion episode. So we'll save that, or go back and listen to the fashion episode because we talk about that. Anyway, too much warmth, people pleaser. Not enough warmth and too much competence, you become like this intimidating robot. Like nobody wants to talk to you because you're just like, well, actually, that's not right. Actually, this has happened. Actually, like, and you're like, oh God. Like, I have a family member who does this, and, they're the nicest person really, but they just come off like so obnoxious. And I, just have to grin and bear it. But it is hard sometimes because it is this like know it all, or like, well, this and this and this, and this is why. And you're like, oh God, please. The point I am trying to make, I'm trying not to go on too many tangents here. Keep it together, Daryl. Clearly, I'm still in my pain on some of these things. The ideal space is warmth and competence, this almost kind authority where I can deliver news to you and round out the edges, or I'm going to tell you the truth or what I know, and I'm going to give it to you in a way that is human and warm, because nobody in today's day and age needs any type of like freaking cold steel answer. Like we're all a little broken and we all need some warmth there. So that's how we're being judged on first impressions. So if you're wondering like, why aren't people warming up to me? Like, what is it? It probably is your warmth or it is your competence. So look there first. The other side of this is we do make judgments in 0.1 seconds. It comes right after we meet somebody, or they say something. It is a personality judgment. It's not right. It's not okay. It's based in evolutionary psychology, but it is very true. We make them. Charisma can camouflage chaos, absolutely. And that's why sometimes we're like, oh my God, I had no idea. But we do make those judgments very quickly, and first impressions are hard to walk back from, not impossible. So, if somebody seems too perfect, they're probably performing coherence instead of feeling it. And ask yourself, like, if you're finding that of like, oh, they're too perfect, like, ask yourself, is this a me thing, right? Am I being triggered by something? Or is their confidence calibrated, or are they compensating? Right? Or is it me? Is a trigger of mine? So I will give you this. We'll end with this, a little bit of a decoder toolkit. I gave you some in specific arenas, but I want to give you kind of an overarching one to bring with you. Step one. Step one, my friends, observe, don't diagnose. You are not a trained professional. Do not diagnose anybody. And even if you are a trained professional, if in that moment you are not getting paid to diagnose, don't. Don't do it. Don't do it. You're working for free and it's not appropriate. You're not the FBI, you're not the CIA. You just want to be emotionally literate. Number 2, step 2, ask for a second answer. Highlight this, underscore, underline, whatever. Say things like, that's interesting. Can you say more? This is your X-ray question. Usually people have a very polished first answer. Asking them to say more will get you more of the truth. Step 3, listen for tense, listen for tone, listen for transition. We talked about tense and tone before. Transition is listening for when people say things like, anyway, long story short, like the emotional edit points. Where do they put those in? When? Is it when things got really difficult, really tense, really hard? Like before that, did they actually not answer the question? That to me is important just as much as tense and tone. And then finally, you want to contain. Don't mirror this back. And this is from the CIA playbook, truly. You want to command presence with emotional gravity. You don't want to give anybody else to go on because they're going to be looking at you on how to respond. You don't want to be a blank slate. You want to be met with warmth, right? So they feel safe enough, psychological safety, they feel safe enough to answer, but you don't want to lead them down. I see this a lot in interviews where interviewers will guide a response from the interviewee without even knowing it. They're like trying to make them feel more comfortable, but instead they're sabotaging the, I want to say cleanliness, but that's not what I mean. A sterile field, I guess, of what the purpose of an interview is. So again, don't meet chaos with chaos, meet it with containment. And that is all I have for you, right? We could probably go into this so much more and do more of a deep dive. I have to go to lunch right now with a fantastic friend of mine for a mom's night, mom's day out. But I wanted to do this beforehand because it was really in my mind this morning and I wanted to get it all out on my paper and give it to you guys while it was fresh in my head. So that is our episode on our F word of first impressions. Hopefully you got something out of this. Again, like this is not about judging people or not. This is just about trying to decode people and be able to connect with them and what they're saying. So the next time you meet somebody new, pay attention not to their resume or their highlight reel, pay attention to the stories that they are telling you and be interested in that. Or again, from a hiring perspective, like discern, make decisions around that or have great follow-up questions based on that, not just your list of questions. All in all, thank you as always for spending your time with me, your target runs with me. I'm Dr. Daryl Appleton. This is Feelings and Other F Words. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, all that other annoying stuff people tell you to do, but it absolutely helps us reach a broader audience. So please do it. And I will see you on the next episode.